The crazy man pops over the rim, standing in full view, waving his metal shard wildly and shrieking, "Blood calls! Blood calls!" The crazy man dances along the edge, taunting them, which buys you a brief window to act. What does Billy do now? You're still hidden in the Gully, Beretta and Bowie knife ready, with the gang distracted, but primed for a fight. Are you springing the ambush, repositioning, or trying something else?
All right, I don't think I can take on the Marauders here with my limited ammunition. So what I want to do is see if I can go deeper into the Gully and maybe get them to come inside where I can take them out more to my advantage.
Billy's opting to slip deeper into the Gully, aiming to lure the Mad Max Road Warrior gang into tighter terrain where his limited ammo, 4 Beretta bullets, 7 crossbow bolts, and melee prowess.
As I move deeper into the Gully, I also have a chart that says there's a possibility of like some kind of wildlife or animal in the Gully. So let me roll on that real quick. A 1, there's a coyote. So as I'm moving deeper into the Gully, I don't think the coyote would attack me, but I also want you to add into the story that a coyote goes running out of the Gully as well. This at some point could cause more distraction, or maybe it distracts the Marauders as they come down after me.
Great call! You're weaving in more chaos with that D10 roll landing on a 1, adding a coyote to the Gully as Billy moves deeper to reposition or prepare his ambush. The coyote bolting out of the Gully could definitely stir things up, especially with the crazy man already drawing the Mad Max Road Warrior gang's attention. I'll incorporate this into the scene, running the NPCs, the coyote, and the environment in true Maze Rat style, while you control Billy's actions. I'll describe how the coyote and the gang react, then
Go
check
ahead
in
and
for
get to it. Let's do it.
Alright, let's crank up the chaos. Billy's slipping deeper into the Gully, Beretta, 4 bullets, and Texas Bowie knife at the ready, while the crazy man's antics and a fleeing coyote stir up the Mad Max Road Warrior gang above. I'll run the NPCs, the environment, and the new coyote element per your D10 roll, keeping the Maze Rats vibe tense and unpredictable. You're in control of Billy's actions, and I'll check in for his next move after setting the scene. The desert scorches the semi-arid wasteland, its glare bouncing off the Gully's rocky walls. The growl of engines fills the air as the gang's convoy, a spiked truck and 2 Harampai-armed buggies, looms at the Gully's edge, dust swirling like a storm. The Mohawk lookout on the truck's cage shouts, pointing at the crazy man, who's just scrambled up, cackling and waving his jagged metal shard. "Blood calls! Blood calls!" he shrieks, dancing along the rim. The 2 bat-wielding goons charge toward him, chains rattling, while the buggy gunners aim their harooms, itching to skewer something. The Trex driver revs the engine, circling closer, as all 7 Marauders zero in on the lunatic. Billy, you're moving deeper into the Gully, your boots crunching on loose gravel, as you stick to the shadows of the crumbling walls. Your earlier willpower roll, 8, got the crazy man to climb up, but his loud performance has the gang on high alert, suspecting someone's down here. As you weave through the Gully's twists, a sudden flash of movement catches your eye. A lean, mangy coyote, its fur matted and eyes wild, bursts from a crevice just ahead. Startled by your approach, it lets out a sharp yip and bolts toward the Gully's mouth, claws scrabbling on the rocks. The coyote's flight adds a new layer of mayhem. As it scrambles up the Gully slope, not far from where the crazy man is taunting the gang, it darts across the rim, a gray streak against the dusty earth. The lookout spots it and barks, "What that? Mangy mutt!" One of the buggy gunners, jumpy from the crazy man's shrieking, swings his Harum gun and fires prematurely. The Harum clanks into the dirt, missing the coyote, which vanishes into the scrub beyond. The miss sparks a shout of curses from the buggy driver, and the gang's focus splinters. Some still fixated on the crazy man, others distracted by the coyote's sudden appearance. The 2 bat-wielding goons hesitate at the rim, one snarling, His place is cursed or something. The crazy man, undeterred, keeps cackling, now tossing pebbles at the goons, which only enrages them further. But the Coyotes' dash and the Haroom misfire have created a brief window of confusion among the gang. They're still poised to descend into the gully, suspecting you're here, but their attention is split between the lunatic and the fleeting wildlife. You're deeper in the gully now, hidden among the rocks, with your Beretta and Bowie knife ready. The gully's walls offer cover, and its narrow twists could funnel the gang into a perfect ambush if they come down. The Coyotes' exit has added to the chaos, but it won't last long. What does Billy do now? Are you setting up the ambush, using the distractions to reposition further, or trying something else to capitalize on the gang's disarray? Let me know, and I'll run the NPC's next moves.
Got it. I've got to set up an ambush if they come down. So the big question is, I think three things. What do they do with the crazy guy? And then do they leave or do they come down figuring that I'm the problem that's scaring all of these things out of the gully? What is it?
Perfect. Billy's gearing up for an ambush in the gully, ready to capitalize on the chaos caused by the crazy man and the fleeing coyote. The gully's rocky walls bake under the harsh desert sun, their shadows offering Billy cover as he prepares his ambush. The air hums with the snarl of the gang's engines above. A spiked truck and two Harampai-armed buggies parked at the gully's edge, dust curling around them. 7 marauders, clad in scrap-studded leathers and war paint, are on edge after your earlier skirmish.
Come on, move to the action. What do they do? There's 3 options here. Let's do it.
All right, let's cut to the chase. Billy's crouched in the gully, Beretta, 4 bullets, and Texas Bowie knife ready, plotting an ambush. The crazy man's cackling and the coyote's mad dash have the Mad Max Road Warrior gang on edge. You want to know, what do they do with the crazy man? Do they leave or come down? And why? Likely suspecting Billy's stirring up trouble. I'll run the NPCs and environment in Maze Rat style, answering your 3 questions with sharp action, then check in for Billy's ambush setup. 1. What do they do with the crazy man? The crazy man shrieking, blood calls, and chucking pebbles enrages the 2 bat-wielding goons at the gully's edge. One swings his spiked bat, catching the crazy man's arm with a glancing blow. 1 damage. The lunatic howls but doesn't flee, slashing wildly with his jagged metal shard, nicking the goon's leathers. No damage. The lookout on the truck shouts, "Quit playing! Grab him!" The second goon lunges, trying to grapple the crazy man, who slips free, cackling, but he's cornered against the rim, barely holding them off. 2. Do they leave or come down? They're not leaving. They're coming down. The mohawked lookout, scanning the gully after the coyote's sprint and the crazy man's chaos, growls, "That merc's down there." The Trex driver revs, but the gully's too steep for vehicles. The lookout orders the 2 buggy gunners to dismount and join the goons. 4 marauders, 2 with bats, 2 with knives and harooms, start descending the gully slope, kicking rocks as they slide. The lookout and drivers stay topside.
Hey, Grok, real quick, what's a haroom?
A harpoon, in this context, is a crude post-apocalyptic weapon used by the Mad Max Road Warrior gang.
Okay,
It's
I know what a harpoon is. You kept calling it something else.
My bad for any confusion. I've been referring to the weapons as Haroom guns in the descriptions, meaning jury-rigged, post-apocalyptic launchers that fire barbed harpoons. Think makeshift crossbows or spear guns cobbled together from scrap.
Okay, that works.
Billy's crouched in the gully, Beretta, 4 bullets, and Texas Bowie knife ready, setting up an ambush as 4 Mad Max Road Warrior gang members descend after him. 2 with spiked bats, 2 with knives, and those jury-rigged harpoon guns. I'll answer your 3 earlier questions with sharp focus. What happens with the crazy man?
You already answered that. Continue. Come on, keep it sharp.
All right, let's keep it tight. Billy's in the gully, Beretta, 4 bullets.
Quit explaining his gear. Come on, just send him in after him.
Got it. Full speed ahead. 4 Mad Max road warriors. 2 with spiked bats. 2 with knives and Haroom guns. Scramble down the gully's rocky slope, kicking up dust as they hunt Billy. The crazy man's still topside, grappling with one goon, his cackling echoing as he slashes wildly with his metal shard. The lookout on the truck and the buggy drivers circle the rim, engines snarling. The gully's narrow, shadowed walls funnel the 4 marauders toward Billy's ambush spot. They're spread out, moving cautiously, bats raised, Harooms loaded, eyes scanning the rocks. The lead bat wielder snarls. He's here. I smell him. They're about 20 feet away, closing fast. What does Billy do to spring the ambush?
Well, I'm hiding behind a boulder, so as the first one gets close, I will attack him with my Bowie knife, just try to take him out.
Perfect. Billy's lying in wait behind a boulder, ready to spring the ambush with his Texas Bowie knife as the first of the 4 Mad Max road warriors gets close. You're aiming to take out the lead marauder, a bat-wielding goon, in a swift melee strike. Since you're attacking, we'll use Billy's attack roll with his bonuses. The gully's cramped walls cast jagged shadows, the air thick with dust from the marauder's descent. Above, the crazy man's cackling mixes with the snarl of engines as he tussles with a goon at the rim. The lead bat wielder, a wiry thug in scrap-studded leathers, is steps away from your boulder, his spiked bat raised, eyes darting. Roll guidance. Deforce action. Billy leaps from behind the boulder to attack the lead bat wielder with his Texas Bowie knife. Melee. +1. For the knife. +1. For Billy's attack bonus.
All right, I'm rolling the dice, 2 6-sided die. I get a 6 plus 2 gives me 8.
Billy's ambush kicks off with an attack roll of 8. 6 on 2d6, +2 for his +1 attack bonus, and +1 for the Texas Bowie knife. In Maze Rats, combat checks are compared to the target's defense. Standard is 7, unless specified. And success means you deal damage.
I think I know what this looks like. I want to alliterate that I slash the throat, but it's not an immediate killing blow because it's a mixed success. But I think this causes him to be kind of screaming and clutching at his neck as he backs into the spiked bat wielder behind him.
I love the vivid imagery. You're painting Billy's ambush with a brutal slash to the lead bat wielder's throat. A mixed success from your 8 on the attack roll. That doesn't kill outright, but leaves the marauder screaming and stumbling into his buddy behind him. In Maze Rats, an attack roll of 8 beats the standard defense of 7, dealing damage. Typically 1d6 in Maze Rats, unless modified. But since it's close to the defense, your idea of a non-lethal but messy hit fits perfectly as a partial success. 4 marauders, 2 with spiked bats, 2 with knives and Haroom guns, stalk through the gully, hunting you.
Grok, move to the action right after I cut the throat. You got to go straight to the response to that.
Got it. Straight to the action. Billy slashes the lead bat wielder's throat with his Texas Bowie knife. Attack roll 8 versus defense 7. Blood spraying as the marauder screams, clutching his neck and stumbles back into the second bat wielder. The wounded goon, 1d6 damage, let's say 4, leaving him alive but hurt, gurgles and flails, his spiked bat clattering against the gully's rocks. The second bat wielder curses, shoving his buddy aside, and swings his bat at Billy, roaring. The 2 marauders with knives and Haroom guns, a few steps behind, freeze for a split second, then raise their weapons. One aims a Harum, the other draws his knife, shouting, "Get him!"
All right, I'm going to simply step back behind the boulder, so I won't be in range of any of these Harum guns, and the bat wielder is going to have to come around the boulder to get me, at which point I think I will try to get him with my Bowie knife again.
Sharp move. Billy stepping back behind the boulder to break line of sight from the Harum guns and force the second bat wielder to come around for a melee showdown, where you'll strike again with the Texas Bowie knife. I'll run the NPCs and environment in Maze Rat style, handling their reactions and setting up the next clash. Then check in for your attack roll.
There's no need to tell me all that. Just have the action go.
Billy ducks behind the boulder, out of the Harum gun's range. The wounded bat wielder, throat slashed, gurgles and collapses, clutching his neck, out of the fight. The second bat wielder, snarling, rounds the boulder, spiked bat swinging wildly at Billy. The two marauders with Harum guns and knives hesitate, unable to get a clear shot, and start advancing, shouting, "He's there!"
Good. I have to do a dexterity roll in order to avoid that wild bat swing. But because it's so wild and I've got the boulder, I'm going to have advantage and my +1 for dex. I'm going to let you know what the roll is. I have a 5, a 3, and a 2. So I'm taking the 5, 6, 7, 8 +1 is a 9.
Great roll. Billy's dodging the second bat wielder's wild swing with a dexterity roll, using advantage due to the boulder's cover.
Go straight to the action.
Billy nimbly sidesteps. Dex roll 9. As the second bat wielder's spiked bat smashes into the boulder, sparks flying. The marauder stumbles. Off balance.
Good. Now, with him off balance, that's when I counter again with the Bowie knife. I think I have advantage because he's off balance. I'm also going to have +1 for my attack bonus, mercenary, and +1 because I'm using the Bowie knife. I'm going to roll 3 dice, 3d6 because of my advantage. I'm going to add 2. So I've got 8 + 2 taking me to 10.
Killer move! Billy seizes the moment, striking with his Texas Bowie knife as the second bat wielder stumbles, off balance. Your roll of 10, 8 on 3d6 with advantage. +1 for mercenary attack bonus. +1 for Bowie knife is a solid hit in Maze Rats, easily beating the Marauder's defense of 7.
Go ahead and count it as an instant kill. I'm then going to pick up his dropped bat, but I have to holster the Beretta, and now I have the bat in my hand and the knife. Move straight to the action.
Billy's Bowie knife slashes deep, gutting the second bat wielder, who collapses dead, blood pooling on the gully's rocks. Instant kill. Roll 10. Billy holsters his Beretta, snatching the fallen marauder's spiked bat, now gripping it in one hand and the Bowie knife in the other. The two remaining marauders, one with a knife, one with a Harum gun, charge closer, 10 feet away. The Harum wielder fires, the barbed spear whistling toward Billy. The knife wielder roars, lunging to flank. Above, engines snarl as the crazy man's shouts weaken. What does Billy do?
I'm going to retreat deeper into the gully and try to dodge that Harum spike.
Billy bolts deeper into the gully, dodging the Harum spear as it rockets toward him.
I think that is going to require a dexterity roll, though. They did shoot at me.
You're right. My bad for skipping the roll. Billy's retreating deeper into the gully to dodge the Harum spear, fired by one of the 2 remaining marauders. Since this is an evasion under pressure, a dexterity roll fits perfectly in Maze Rats. I'll keep it tight, run the action with the NPCs and environment, and factor in your roll, which you haven't provided yet.
The roll is a 7 with a +1 for dexterity for a total of 8.
Solid. Billy's dexterity roll of 8, 7 on 2d6 +1 for dexterity, kicks in as he retreats deeper into the gully to dodge the Harum spear. In Maze Rats, an 8 is a partial success, or success with a complication, for checks like this. So he avoids the worst, but there's a hitch.
Tell me what the hitch is.
Billy twists aside, dex roll 8. The Harum spear skimming past, grazing his leather jacket but drawing no blood.
Okay.
The hitch. The dodge sends him stumbling into a loose gravel patch, kicking up a dust cloud that reveals his position.
With the knife-wielding marauder rushing through the dust cloud, I'm going to swing the spiked bat with my left hand and also slash with the Bowie knife, kind of as like a follow-through strike.
Brutal combo. Billy's swinging the spiked bat in his left hand and following through with a Bowie knife slash as the knife-wielding marauder charges through the dust cloud. In Maze Rats, making 2 attacks in one go is tricky, so we'll treat this as a single aggressive melee action with both weapons, leveraging Billy's strength +1, and attack bonuses, +1 mercenary, +1 Bowie knife. Given the marauders rushing in, I'll grant advantage for the chaotic momentum. You'll roll 3d6, advantage, taking the highest 2, +3 total, strength +1, attack bonus +1, Bowie knife +1. The bat doesn't add extra since it's part of the same action. Let's hit the action. The gully's tight walls choke with dust from the ricocheting harpoon, which grazes Billy's arm. 8 dex roll, no damage, but a close call. The knife-wielding marauder, a scarred brute in scrap leathers, barrels through the haze, his blade raised, roaring.
I rolled a 10, and then you add in my +3 for a total of 13.
That's a crushing roll. Billy's attack with a spiked bat and Bowie knife combo lands with a 13. 10 on 3d6 with advantage, +1 strength, +1 mercenary
Describe
attack
the
bonus.
action.
Billy swings the spiked bat left-handed, smashing it into the knife-wielding marauder's chest, crunching ribs. 13 versus defense 7. The brute staggers, gasping, as Billy's Bowie knife follows through, slashing across his throat in a spray of blood. The marauder collapses, dead, his blade clattering on the gully's rocks. The harpoon wielder, 15 feet back, fumbles to reload, cursing, while the dust cloud swirls. Above, the crazy man shouts are faint, and engines snarl louder.
All right, while he's fumbling the reload, I'm simply going to take that spiked bat in my left hand and chuck it. Now, that's a 15-foot throw with a spiked bat. I think that is like a dexterity move, but with disadvantage. Although I do get a +1 for my dex.
Bold move! Billy's hurling the spiked bat at the harpoon-wielding marauder, who's fumbling to reload 15 feet away. You're right. This is a dexterity-based ranged attack in Maze Rats, and the improvised weapon, a bulky bat, at that distance justifies disadvantage. With Billy's +1 dexterity, you'll roll 3d6, take the lowest 2, and add +1.
I did it. I got a 3. My +1 only taking it to a 4. Yikes.
Oof, tough break. Billy's dexterity roll of 4. 3 on 3d6 with disadvantage, +1 dexterity. For checking the spiked bat at the harpoon-wielding marauder is a miss in Maze Rats, falling short of the standard defense of 7. Straight to the action. Billy hurls the spiked bat, but the heavy weapon wobbles mid-air, sailing wide and clattering against the gully's rocky wall, missing the harpoon wielder. The marauder, a lanky thug in grease-smeared leathers, snaps his harpoon gun loaded, grinning wickedly as he aims at Billy, now 15 feet away, exposed without the bat. The dust cloud settles, and the gully's tight walls amplify his shout. Gotcha now! Behind him, the crazy man's cackling is barely audible, and the engines above rev louder, dust trickling from the rim. What does Billy do?
I'm going to try to retreat further into the gully, using my dexterity to avoid this inevitable shot from the harpoon spear.
Smart play. Billy's retreating further into the gully, relying on his dexterity to dodge the harpoon spear about to be fired by the last marauder. In Maze Rats, evading a ranged attack like this calls for a dexterity roll. Since you're under pressure with the harpoon wielder locked on, it's a standard 2d6 plus 1, Billy's dexterity. Let's hit the action.
I rolled a 5 plus 1 for a total of 6.
Rough 1. Billy's dexterity roll of 6, 5 on 2d6, plus 1 for dexterity, to dodge the harpoon spear is a failure in Maze Rats, falling short of the typical 7 plus needed for success. Straight to the action. Billy scrambles deeper into the gully, boots slipping on loose rocks, but the harpoon wielder's aim is true. The barbed spear fires with a twang, catching Billy's shoulder, 1d6 damage. Let's say 3. Pain sears as the harpoon grazes, pinning his jacket to the gully wall, leaving Billy with 5 HP. The marauder, 15 feet away, laughs, drawing a knife as he advances. The gully narrows, offering cover ahead. Above, engines roar, and the crazy man's shouts are gone. What does Billy do?
I'm going to draw the Beretta and shoot the guy that just shot me with the harpoon gun.
Gritty move. Billy, pinned briefly by the harpoon spear, but still with 5 HP, draws his Beretta. 4 bullets left, to shoot the knife-drawing marauder who just tagged him. In Maze Rats, this is a ranged attack using dexterity, plus 1 for Billy, with his plus 1 mercenary attack bonus. The gully's tight quarters...
So there's a correction to that. With Maze Rats, it's the simple attack bonus, which is a plus 1, and just 2d6. This is not dexterity factored in. I'm ready to roll. Oh, 7 plus 1 is 8.
Thanks for the correction. You're right. Maze Rats keeps it simple with attack rolls using 2d6 plus attack bonus, plus 1 for Billy's mercenary background. No dexterity factored in. Your roll of 8, 7 on 2d6 plus 1, is a success against the Marauder's defense of 7. Straight to the action. Billy, shoulders stinging from the harpoon graze, 5 HP left, yanks free from the pinned jacket and snaps his Beretta up, firing at the knife-drawing Marauder 15 feet away. The shot cracks, bullet slamming into the Marauder's chest, 1d6 damage, say 5, dropping him dead in the gully's dust. The Beretta's down to 3 bullets.
That's good, but it's not just a graze with that harpoon spear. I think it's actually like in my shoulder because I took 3 damage. That's pretty significant.
You're right. My bad for downplaying it. That harpoon spear hit Billy hard, dealing 3 damage, leaving him at 5 HP. So it's lodged in his shoulder, not just a graze. I'll correct the scene and keep the action flowing, reflecting the injury severity. After Billy's successful Beretta shot, roll of 8, dropping the Marauder. Straight to it. Billy grimaces, pain lancing through his shoulder, where the barbed harpoon spear is embedded, blood soaking his jacket, 5 HP. With a snarl, he rips free from the gully wall, draws his Beretta, 3 bullets left, and fires. The shot echoes, punching through the knife-drawing Marauder's chest, who collapses dead in a heap, 1d6 damage, 5. The gully's cramped walls are silent now, dust settling, but the roar of engines above grows louder, and loose rocks tumble from the rim. More trouble's coming.
I've got to get this harpoon spear out of my shoulder. I think it's kind of come in just below the left clavicle. So what I'm going to do is lean up against a rock and just kind of, it's barbed. So I want to jam the back of this spear while I'm trying to pull it all the way through my body so I can get it out of me. Do I need to roll for this?
That's a brutal and vivid move, perfectly fitting the gritty maze rat's vibe. Billy's trying to remove the barbed harpoon spear lodged below his left clavicle by leaning against a rock, jamming the spear's back to push it through his body, and pulling it out. This is a high-risk, painful action that could stabilize his condition or make things worse, so a roll is definitely needed. Given the physical strain and endurance involved, this calls for a strength check, +1 for Billy, to see if he can grit through the pain and execute it without further injury. Success might mean he removes it cleanly, while failure could worsen the wound or cause complications.
I have an 8 + 1 gives me a roll of a 9.
Solid roll. Billy's strength check of 9, 8 on 2d6, +1 for strength, is a success in maze rats, just enough to pull off this grueling task, with a minor complication, given the barbed harpoon's nastiness. Straight to the action. Billy slumps against a jagged gully rock, blood seeping from the harpoon spear, lodged below his left clavicle. 5 HP. Gritting his teeth, he grips the spear's shaft, braces against the rock, and jams the back hard, shoving the barbed head through his flesh. With a guttural yell, he yanks it free, the spear clattering to the ground, blood dripping. The pain's brutal, and the wound's messy. Complication: +1 to rolls using the left arm until treated, but he's no longer impaled. The gully's tight walls are quiet, but engines roar louder above, and rocks skitter from the rim. The remaining marauders are closing in. What does Billy do?
I think the big question is, well, I guess first of all, I'm going to search real quickly these 4 marauders that I just took down, just in case they have something on them. I know it's probably not likely.
Smart move to scavenge in this desperate situation. Billy, bloodied but standing, 5 HP, -1 to left arm rolls due to the shoulder wound, quickly searches the 4 dead marauders, 2 bat wielders, 1 knife wielder, and the harpoon gunner, for anything useful. In maze rats, looting is a quick action, but will make it tense given the engines roaring above and the approaching threat. No roll is needed unless there's a specific challenge, like time pressure or traps. So I'll describe what Billy finds and keep the action tight, then check in for his next move. Billy crouches in the dusty gully, his shoulder throbbing from the freshly pulled harpoon wound. The 4 marauders lie sprawled among the rocks, blood pooling beneath them. He frisks their scrap-studded leathers and belts, working fast as the rumble of engines grows louder from the rim, and rocks clatter down the gully walls. Here's what he finds. Lead bat wielder, throat slashed. A spiked bat already dropped, a half-empty flask of foul-smelling liquor, and a rusty pocket knife. 1 damage, no bonus. Second bat wielder, gutted. Nothing but a strip of dried meat, half chewed, and a dented metal lighter with no fuel. Knife wielder, bat and knife combo kill. A jagged knife, 1 damage, no bonus, and a small pouch with 3 crude bolts for a harpoon gun. Usable with their gear. A harpoon gunner. Chest shot. His harpoon gun, 1d6 damage, ranged, 1 shot before reload, with 1 loaded harpoon, plus a small vial of oily black liquid. Smells toxic, use unknown. None carry extra ammo for Billy's Beretta or crossbow, and their gear is crude. But the harpoon gun, bolts, or vial might come in handy. The gully's shadows deepen as the engines above rev sharply,